Hey everyone, welcome back. We're going to do another tag video. Not that I've been tagged, but I'm doing them anyway. We're going to do the reader problem book tag. I saw a couple videos on YouTube and I thought this was hilarious because the questions are just really hilariously worded. So this is the awesome thing that I bought from Caffeine and Legends that I was telling you guys about in my last book. It is an actual vintage dictionary page that has been printed on with the Alcott quote. It is one of my favorite quotes. And then that is some fantastic fan art of Rose from Shadow's Voice that one of my good friends made for me. So we're just going to get right into it. There's not much of an intro for this one. So the first question is, you have 20,000 books to read that are on your TBR. How on earth do you pick what to read next? Well, considering I do have 20,000 books on my TBR, I have no idea. I wish I had a system for this. Those of you who do, I envy you. I have no system. I tend to binge read, so if it's a series, I'll just go to the next book in the series. I don't know, it really just depends on my mood, and it's so fickle that it really doesn't help me at all. So sometimes I'll keep going in the same genre and I'll just pick something else on my shelf, or if I'm in a book hole and there's not another book in the series, then I'll jump to a different genre so that it's kind of like a palate cleanser, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I don't really have a system and I wish I did. I usually stare at my bookshelves longingly for a long time until I just pick a book out of pity. The next question is, you're halfway through a book and you're just not feeling it. Do you keep going or do you put it down? I usually put it down. My attention span is pretty short to begin with. So unless it's something that I'm trying to finish for a purpose, like I'm wanting to do a review of it or I want to finish the series or something, I usually try to finish it. For the most part, though, if it's a standalone or depending on how much I'm not feeling it, I will usually just put it down because I skim read as it is. Like, that's just how I've always read. I never read every letter or word in a sentence. So if I'm not feeling it, I'll skip whole sections without realizing it, and then it just makes for a really uncomfortable reading experience because then I get confused. So if it's not something that I'm digging and I'm really not into it, I'll just put it down and try again later, or maybe I'm just not in the mood for it, which is fine. So I don't try to force myself to finish things unless there's a very distinct purpose for it. The next question made me giggle a lot because I know exactly which books I'm going to talk about. The covers in a series do not match. How do you cope? Well, I don't. I have a fit about it, and I whine about it, and I don't ever get over it. Case in point, the Throne of Glass series. They're all dark covered covers, and then the last one is white. We're not even going to talk about the fact that the last one is also like a quarter of an inch shorter than everything else. We're not even going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how it's dark, white. Like, I don't know if they did it for dramatic effect or they're just trying to fuck with us, but either way, it drives me insane every time I look at these books. So yeah, I don't handle it well at all. On that note, can we talk about the ridiculousness that is the Shadow of Bone series covers? So I just barely started reading these books. I'm on the third one. I'm almost finished. I'm going to do a whole review of the series once I finish the third one. But I went and bought these books, and I bought them in a box set because the only covers that I could find in the store had this stupid coming to Netflix thing printed, but it wasn't a sticker. It was printed on the book. So I'm like, screw it. I'm going to pay extra money for the box set so I don't have to deal with the stupid printed sticker. It's printed on the book. I am so mad. Who in their right mind would do this? Whoever designed these and thought this was a good idea has never talked to an avid reader at all, because nobody wants this. The amount of fury that happened when I pulled them out of the box, but whatever, it's fine. So yeah, as soon as I finish the third one, I'm going to do a review of the whole series because I am slow to the hype. I did not even know these books were a thing until Twitter exploded with the news that it was coming to Netflix. But yeah, can we... Covers not matching is one thing. Screwing up the covers because it's now a TV movie / show thing, that's sacrilegious. Okay, the next question is, everybody and their mother loves a certain book or series, and you could care less. How do you cope and who do you talk to about it? I'm really indifferent. Like, I think it's interesting when there's something that is super, super hyped and everybody loves it, and then I read it and I'm like, I don't get it. So I usually just engage in conversation because I want to know, like, was there something that I missed? Was it like a age thing? Like, is it like a nostalgia thing and that's why everybody loves it or whatever? So, like, I don't care. I'll talk to the people who loved the book. Nothing wrong with talking to someone who has a different opinion. You might learn something. So I don't know. I don't care. I talk to whoever about the books. Next question makes me laugh too. If you're reading a book in public and you start to feel all the feels and you're about to cry, how do you deal? Well, we're assuming that I recognize that I'm in public. When I read and I get into it, the whole world falls away from me and I am in this book. I have laughed out loud in public. I have snorted. I have answered dialogue. So, like, if you're reading something and your character says something hella snappy or sassy, and you just have to have a moment where you, like, repeat the words. I've done that. Yeah, so I haven't cried yet, but I can count on one hand the amount of times I've cried in general. So crying in public probably would never happen for me. But in general, like, if I'm really feeling the book, I completely forget where I am. I could be in a crowded boardroom or on a train or alone in my living room, and the reaction would be the same. I completely forget there's other humans around me. So if I'm reading a book and I get ready to cry, I'm going to cry. I'm going to be wiping them tears away, and I will completely forget that I'm sitting in the middle of my office. Like, that's just how I am. And I feel like if you are watching someone read something and they're crying, that should be a clue that you should pick the book up because it means it's really good. Okay, so the next question is really funny because I just unhauled a whole bunch of books for this reason. A sequel of your book that you absolutely love just came out, but you've forgotten a bunch of the prior novel. Do you reread the book, skip the sequel, try to find a synopsis, cry in frustration? So I am not a huge rereader. I haven't actually tried to reread a book. I've reread a book on Audible, which was interesting. But I've never actually tried to just sit down and reread a book. I don't know how well I would do at that because I skim read everything so much. So I would probably end up skipping quite a lot because of the familiarity of it. But I don't know. So I would probably just start reading the book and hope that there's enough recap paragraphs in the first little bit to get me going. Or I'd read maybe a review on Goodreads or something. I'm not a huge rereader though. Well, that's a character flaw. I feel like I own all these books. I should at least reread the damn things, you think, right? But I have never tried rereading a book, especially if it's one that I know really well. Maybe if I don't remember much of it, it would be different for me. I don't know. I would just read the book though and be really confused for a minute until everything came back to me. I have done that before. And at some point I usually just go, I don't know. Kind of like with math. You just assume it'll work. You don't really know why. You just kind of go, oh yeah, that works. The next question is, you do not want anyone borrowing your books. How do you politely tell them no when they ask? Very simply, I say no. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I have this thing where people need to learn how to say no more often. Maybe this is just because I'm a female in a very male-dominated career. But I have learned that there's nothing wrong, and I have no reason to be overly polite and apologetic about saying no to someone. So if someone asks to borrow my shit and I don't want them to, I'm just going to be like, nah, sorry though. Like, I don't need to justify my actions. I don't need to explain them or apologize for them. So if you want to borrow my books, and I don't let people borrow my books. Learned that the hard way. No. Like, I am not gentle on my books by any means. Like, I think a well-used book should show that it's well-used and well-read, and, like, There's nothing wrong with picking up a book and knowing that it's been handled a lot because it's been read a lot. I think that's completely fine. But also, don't be throwing my books around in your backpack, breaking the spines. So I don't lend books. So when people ask me, I tell them where they can get them, and I tell them that I don't lend books. I don't know. Simple answer, I guess. Oh my god, I don't know. This question, so reading ADD. You've picked up and put down 5 different books in the last month. How do you get over your reading slump? If I knew, I'd fucking tell you. Haven't a clue. No idea. Plow on, I guess. So I read this book, and I'm sure you guys have heard me bitch about this before. I read this book, The Obsidian Tower. I loved it. It was so great. One of my new favorite books. And it has destroyed me. It's put me in quite the slump. I'm over it a little bit because I finally started reading the Grishaverse series books, whatever. And they were good enough that they got me out of the slump, and now I'm reading again. But I had to switch genres. I tried to read something else after Obsidian Tower, and I had to switch to sci-fi and just completely do a different genre because I was picking up and putting down every other fantasy book I've tried. So I guess that would be how I fix it. If you really can't get into a reading, if you're stuck in a reading slump, I try a different genre, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I'm terrible with this. Show holes do it to me too. Book holes. Yeah. I usually end up having to switch genres though. Or I don't know, fanfic. There have been many a day where I've gone down the fanfic hole because I really want to read. I mean, mostly it happens with Green Rider, let's be real. When I really want to read more Green Rider books, but the next one's not out yet, and it takes her a century and a half to write the next one. So I dig deep into the fanfic world for a little bit, and then maybe that'll fix it, and then I usually go back to reading something else. Or write my own fanfic, who knows. Yeah, I'm not successful at getting out of the book hole very well. There are so many new books coming out, and you want to read all of them. How many do you actually buy? I don't know. I used to say all of them, but I don't know, all of them. I will buy them as I go to read them. I mean, I finished the Outpost. I got this book in one of the Caffeine and Legends boxes, and I loved the book, so I ended up buying the whole series. So I guess in spurts, I don't know. I'm so random with buying books. I will go on little binges and I'll buy a whole bunch, and then I won't buy any for months. So I'll buy them as I read them. I mean, technically I buy a book every month and I get a Caffeine and Legends box, so I don't know. If it's a book I really want, like the Green Rider books, the next one is coming out in like November or something, and I pre-ordered that the day it hit the pre-order option. So I don't know, I guess it depends on how badly I want the book. And that will tell me how many of them I will buy. But I'm also an impulsive shopper, so if I want it, I will buy it. So the next question is that you've bought the new books, you've been waiting for it, you can't wait to read. How long do they sit on your shelf before you read them? This also, again, is a really random thing for me because I guess it depends entirely on the book. Like the Outpost series, I bought all of these the day I finished Outpost, and I've only read the second one. But then I also bought the Shadow of Bone trilogy, and I'm almost finished with the third one, and I bought this a few days ago. So I don't know. It's a crap shot. Who knows? I am such an impulsive binge reader that it could sit on my shelf for 4 minutes. It could sit on my shelf for 4 years. Who knows? I feel like my books on my bookshelf live in they're kind of like Toy Story, where they're like, which one's Andy going to play with today? And it's like, who knows? I don't know. I really don't know. There's no rhyme or reason to what I do. I'm chaotic evil. I don't know. I don't understand that scale, so I don't know what I am. So that's all the questions for the reader problems. Let me know. I'll post all the questions in the comments below so you guys can do them too. Answer your answers to these questions. Like, what are some of your reader problems? Are you less chaotic than I am? There's got to be people that are less chaotic than I am. Yeah, I don't know. My reader problem is that I just don't have enough damn time to read. And when I do have time, it's so hard because, like, I'm trying to write 2 books and trying to read other books. So my free time is usually limited to Fridays because I have Fridays off and my wife works. So, like, Friday is like the me day. And so Friday is usually when I film. If I have time to film, I'll try to read. I'll try to edit Shadows Past and write my currently untitled Lady Death fantasy thing. And so it's like, there's so many, like, I have one day to do this on, basically, because the weekend is just my wife and I spend time together on the weekend. We try not to do too many, like, solo things. So, like, Friday is really my only dedicated reading day. And, like, the little couple hours in the evening before she gets home. But, like, my time is so occupado. I don't know. So like I said, coming soon, hopefully next weekend. I'm going to do a review of the Grishaverse series, the trilogy, because I read all 3 of them pretty quick, and I felt it would be better to do, like, a discussion of the whole series rather than individual book videos. So I'm going to do all 3 of them in one. And then my second video in my author series for, like, writing advice will be soon. Hopefully my Scribbler box got lost in the mail. So as soon as I get it, I'll do that video, hopefully soon as well. If there's any other videos that you guys are wanting to see, any other tags you want me to do, if there's a book you think I should read and review and talk about, please let me know. I'm always, despite my ridiculous TBR bookshelf, I am always looking for new books and new authors. So if there's one that you really think I would enjoy and I should talk about, let me know, and I will try to read it soon, and I'll talk about it. Yeah, other than that, like and subscribe and share with all your friends and stuff, and I will see you guys on the next one.